Welcome to ComSpark. Today we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. My name is Eric Fox with Afidence, and I'll be your guest host today. I'd like to welcome our guest, John Hoevener, Director of IT Information with Rhinestahl Corporation. Thanks for being on the program, John.
Thank you, Eric.
So as the IT leader in your company, how would you say it is that you work with leadership to drive some of the business initiatives, knowing that IT and business don't always see eye to eye?
So I think I have an advantage because I came from a manufacturing background. I didn't come directly from IT. Now we all end up in IT eventually, right? So, but to me, every IT project is really a people and process project. So I try to approach it that way. We need to work with the business leaders to understand what they need, and you make sure you approach a project from their perspective. You can't approach it from an IT perspective in terms of your conversations with them, because it'll fall on deaf ears, it'll go over their head. So I try to work with them. It's always about finding a business solution. It's always about finding a process improvement. And it's always about the people that are going to support that tool or the tool that's going to support them. So you always have to have a process mindset. It endears you to them, and they appreciate what they get from us, and hopefully we come up with a better solution that way.
Yeah, there's always a lot to be said to know the industry and the company prior to having switched over to the IT portion. So it sounds like a business-aligned IT strategy is always at the forethought of the process.
Absolutely. That doesn't mean we don't have to be technical sometimes. We don't have to come up with those solutions. But
sure.
You always have to explain it and approach it from a business perspective.
Absolutely. Now, when it does come to a technical perspective, obviously we have to all conform into different compliances, regulations, those kinds of things. Tell me a little bit about some of the hurdles that you guys get to experience in your industry through compliancy and regulatory purposes.
So the biggest compliance hurdle we've tackled recently has been the NIST 800-171 standards that the government's put out, especially with the DoD. So we became compliant by the end of 2017, but that was a fairly rigorous program to get up to speed on that. We approached it from the perspective of we're not going to treat the DoD different than any of our other customers. We're going to take care of all of our customers' data instead of siloing it to be compliant with one and not the other. So that was a challenge, but we're there.
So a nice benefit for the rest of your clients working with someone that has such high demands. Everybody else just gets to meet those high demands as well, right?
Correct.
That's fantastic, fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about your guys' cloud direction, because when you try to stay in lines with regulatory and compliancy purposes, the cloud always throws a little bit of a wrinkle in there for you. So talk to me a little bit about your cloud strategy.
Most of the new applications that we have started using have been cloud applications. From an IT infrastructure perspective, it's way easier on administration and overhead from the IT department, and the users get more benefit because they always have access to it. So that's been a benefit on some of the newer applications and smaller applications. From an ERP perspective, we have still kept our ERP systems in-house. I haven't seen a formula that makes the math work to put that in the cloud.
Sure.
Once I have a couple servers, and I keep them in, we do keep our servers in a co-location center. So our servers are in a private cloud essentially, or co-location center. So I get the benefits of having 24/7 power, HVAC. Those things aren't going down. So that's the way we've approached it there. In terms of compliance, the biggest challenge we have is if we do have a third-party cloud application that's in the public cloud, we have to be careful not to put any IP out there that could fall under the government's import-export control regulations. So we have to be very careful about what we put out there and monitor that. Or in some cases, we have one third-party cloud application where we know it's hosted in an American facility serviced by only American employees.
And I'm sure that's something that had to be in place for that specifically.
Yes.
Sure. So I guess that kind of parlays into the security conversation that everybody gets to have in 2019 these days. So how do you guys approach the security onion, if you will, as a whole to keep you guys sleeping at night?
So we work with a company called CXIT that manages our infrastructure, networking, and PC support. And they do a very good job of keeping up to date on some of the new security solutions out there. They do not rest on what worked a year ago or 2 years ago, so they're always helping us look forward. So we try to approach the continuous improvement model. We try to maintain user usability or make it an easy interface for our users. We try not to make it too hard, but there are some things that become non-negotiable as you get deeper down some of these cybersecurity protocols that we are required to follow.
Sure.
So it's not always easier, but we try to take a continuous improvement approach. We can't do everything overnight, and we try to just stay ahead of the game a little bit. We are constantly looking at new things to try to do, whether it be for email protection, phishing, and then obviously on the network support. We have, in the last year, employed training for all of our users that are doing cybersecurity training. We send monthly newsletters out. It has to be a multi-pronged approach. We can do what we can on the IT side, but every single
the end user is the end user, right?
Ultimately, they are a path into my company.
Education.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
The more we know, the less chance we click and enter something that we shouldn't have. So, before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like everyone out there to really know about Rhinestahl, or any new innovations that you guys have recently deployed or are getting ready to deploy within the organization?
We don't do a lot of development, so we're a service organization and a manufacturing organization for high-tech industry. So we're not building applications, but what we have tried to always do is we move into more of the service environment, which is a big push for Rhinestahl right now to help with aftermarket services in addition to just supplying tools. Is I need to provide tools to my business, which ultimately goes to my customers, that they can use and are easily accessible, simple, that don't require any training. And I think that's the biggest paradigm shift in IT, is we need to have solutions that work just like the app on your 13-year-old's phone. They never got trained on how to use it. They just figured it out, and now they teach us, right?
Yeah, if it can be that intuitive, then we can all figure it out, right?
So that's the challenge, and that comes from partnering with companies that are good at that. They are experts in that field, and they have a solution that works and can satisfy my customers and our needs in a simple fashion.
So you see a trickle-down effect of technology moving from internal to then affecting your external clients and ultimately yielding a positive result for the company.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a great approach. Again, I'd like to thank you for being with us, John. If you enjoyed our program today, you can check us out and find more information at ComSpark.tech.